This is Nifty Culture. I'm Pio, and this evening I have the pleasure of speaking with Andrew, also known as Traxy, one of the creators, one of the people that runs the Vogu Collective NFT Project. How's it going, Andrew?
Good, man. Thanks to be here. I'm excited to get going.
Absolutely, man. Well, yeah, you and me were just kind of talking off air. This is a project that I looked at closely. I unfortunately don't own any. And actually, now that I say that, let me do my little disclaimer. This is never financial advice. You guys should do your own research in the audience on this project. And we are not making the recommendation that you should buy it. Now that that's out of the way, dude, I looked at this project for like so long, 2 days after it, or like the day after it came out. And I identified the graffiti face trait with the Basquiat themed
Yep.
graffiti and the 90s windbreaker as what I thought would be desirable. And I could have sniped them at like 0.3, 0.4. Are
Yeah.
those like some of the more desirable traits? Like, would I have been a genius to do that? And it was a total mess up that I didn't?
Yeah. It was a mess up. No, it's easy to call you out on that. Like, and as kind of we were talking before, um, these projects you really feel like you know what you're doing, and you second guess yourself, and it like you sleep on it, and then the next day it's one Ethereum, or you buy it, and the next day it's like 0.01, and you you got burnt. So yeah, I don't fault you for sleeping on it. The graffiti faces have been a huge hit. I don't even like the windbreakers were never my favorite. But that's what's like really fun about these projects is what I like isn't what you like, and so we're both there's groups of us fighting for the different the different traits. Personally, I slept on the Cowboy vibes. Like I knew that was going to be iconic, and I'm the guy behind the business, and I knew that's what I want to use as imagery. The Cowboy vibes with the record on the. I knew that was always going to be an image that we were going to go back to, and I knew that the community would like love it, and I didn't get one. And then like 2 days later, it's like up to 1.15, 2, whatever the floor is for the Cowboy vibes, and I'm like, why didn't I buy that? So even me, the founder, slept on my own project for missing out on some of the desirable traits.
I mean, it's tough, man. It's like you said, it's tough to know what's going to be perceived well by the market. But like,
Yeah.
for me, I don't commonly like nail it like that. And I mean, I don't know if I necessarily nailed it, but I'm going to pull them up so people can see. Like, I just like the simplicity of the windbreaker. And we'll get into that. All of a sudden, I'm just talking about me instead of talking about the project. So let's start, let's take it from the beginning. Like, how did this project come about? What was your original idea, and what made you do it?
Yeah, so it's kind of funny because it just comes from, I'm a fan of NFTs, so I've been in this space, and it's like these are things that I want personally. So when I was getting into it, I said, man, Jason's art is like this is good. Like I like Jason's art. I've been hounding him for like 5 years to get physicals for Jason's art. And he never, oh yeah, just grab one, or yeah, $500 you can pick one out, and it never works. And so I'm like, I'm getting an NFT of Jason's. Like I have to get Jason in. He's got to like make some art for us, and we're gonna push it. And so I approached him to possibly put some stuff up for NFTs, and that's where the council pieces came up. We minted the first like 8, which was the original Vogu that kind of inspired this, and it sat for 1-2 weeks with no traction. And I realized that like that's when generative projects were popping off, and I was like, Jason, do you think we could do this as like a generative, like kind of find a way to make these random? And he was on board, like right there. He's like, I'll start drawing. I'll just make a bunch, and we'll just see what happens. And that's what it started. It was just me being selfish and wanting a piece of Jason's art as an NFT for myself, and his creativity and like my creativity just like it sparked it, and we just ran with it, and luckily like we got a community behind us, and look where we're at now. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, no question. Congratulations. I don't think I said that yet on stream. Congratulations on the success
Thank
of the
you.
project. Yeah, sold out. I know that there was like a little bit of a hiccup. Maybe we can talk about it with the actual drop, but it sold out like when you just look at how many minutes it was available to mint, it sold out like super fast. A
Mhm.
lot of demand for it. The first time I saw it, I was like, all right, that's an interesting one, and I felt like there was a lot of hype around it, and this was like a couple weeks before it actually dropped.
Yeah.
So people responded well to it right away. Before the drop, like we had Tom Bilyeu, the co-founder of Quest Nutrition, on our show, and he
Okay.
proactively he proactively brought up the project, and
Ah,
what his exact words were like, the art speaks to me in a way that I can't even describe to you or something. So I'm like, wow, like, they have Tom's
that's
attention too.
awesome.
And I
Yeah,
think he said he minted like at least 10, or he bought at least 10 or something on the secondary. So you have
thank
definitely
you.
some big I know, right? Some big name appreciators. Can you talk about the drop, and just everything from the drop onward, like the
Mhm.
events that have ensued?
Yeah, the like luckily, I've been blessed with having Jason as the artist because I do think the art speaks for itself, and I think people really, without community involvement or me doing any publicity or us doing any marketing, people just saw the pictures and went, I want to know more about this. This is pretty different. And that's all Jason. That's all his style. So having that was really like a huge strength for us early. And I've been approached by a lot of projects, and they're like, "What did you guys do to like leading up to the project that like got you this community?" And I'm like, how could I take credit for this? But there's nothing I can really say that we did too differently. We focus on the community. The goal was always to build a strong foundation and a strong community. But really, like, luckily for us, Jason's art really stood out, and that got people interested. And then being positive and keeping the community involved with every step, I think, was huge for us. The drop was like nowhere near as smooth as you'd plan, and it was like the worst day of my life, like followed by like the best day of my life. Like it was just a flood of like all this anxiety and stress. And again, we were just blessed with the community that was positive and supportive. And I think if we didn't have a community that bought in early, with the issues that we had on the technical side, like I don't think we would have gotten through it, because I think the community would have just abandoned the project, because like, content is king, as Leo Trades and other people have said. And I think that's true to a point. I think that will get your eyes on the project. Um, but if the community wasn't behind us and the community didn't believe in Jason and I and the rest of our team, then I don't think the drop would have went well. Like the post drop wouldn't have went well. We certainly wouldn't be at a 1 Ethereum floor if we didn't have a good community.
Yeah, no question. And no one talks about the mishaps that happened at the drop. It's not like something that has been held against you guys. Like as soon as it
Yeah.
got out there and it was successful, like basically you had like the kind of naysayers for, like you said, probably that day, that
Yeah.
24 hours before it was re-released, and people are like ready to just poo-poo the project or whatever. But look, technical difficulties can happen with this stuff, and when there's a lot of demand, I'd imagine that those technical difficulties are even more likely. But it's not anything that's been held against you guys, and I just feel like everybody has really responded well to it. So we were talking off air about the graffiti face Vogus. So I
Mhm.
identified this on like the first day. I should have bought one. It's my favorite. Where do the graffiti faces stack up, in terms of how desirable they are against, other Vogus?
Yeah, it's been we actually put up, so part of the community building that we're trying to do is like identifying like where those strong communities are. And
Yep.
so we have a poll up in our Discord now. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's like with the Bored Apes and others, they're always like, "Oh, we're the Orange Gang and we're the Kimono Gang." Like
Right.
these groups form, and I love it. It's organic. So the graffiti faces are like one of these kind of, I think they're kind of an underdog group. Like they're definitely not taken as seriously in the community. They're smaller than I think we would expect, because it's such a defining feature. So they're pushing to be like recognized as a subculture within the community. I love them. Um, when you and everyone's always like, "Oh, the basket face." I'm not like the biggest art person in the world. I love art, but I'm not the person who, when Jason's like, when people are like, "Oh yeah, it's the basket type," I'm just like, a basket. I'm terrible. Like I'm so ignorant, and I like feel terrible when I talk to real artists, because they come up with like, "Oh, I love the inspiration. This is clearly inspired by this," and whoops, like my bad for not knowing, and Jason, that's why Jason's the art guy and I'm not. But it is fun. I think that the graffiti faces are really, really popular in the secondary market, and like you're not going to find them cheap, and they get snatched up if they're close to floor. But like as a community, it's funny to see these like very popular secondhand market and secondary market pieces and features that don't have like the active representation in the community, because not everyone wants to like buy a piece, hop on Discord, and be this active member that contributes. And that's fine. Like some people like to just hold this. It's cool. They like to watch how the community community forums, but they don't need to be active. So it's interesting that like the graffiti faces, which I think would be some of the like strongest personalities, like it really stands out to me. That's a strong thing, and they tend to be some of the more quiet voices in the community. So it's interesting to see how that develops. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, maybe they're the art lovers. I don't know, but like, when I
Yeah.
saw it, I immediately thought, the Basquiat thing, and I think I had the okay. So this is the one. So I had my finger on the trigger. I was so close to buying this one because the combo of the windbreaker, the
Mm,
Basquiat graffiti face, and then like you said, the orange background. Shout out to the orange
yeah.
DAO. The orange
They
apes
are
are like it's one of the most passionate like
yeah.
sub communities of the NFT space. It's an absolute riot. So shout out to Lucky One. Shout out to the Orange DAO.
Yes.
But yeah, yeah, man. I mean, the art style speaks for itself, like we've been talking about. Is there like a concept here that we can talk about, or is it just up to the beholder? Because when I see it, I see that it's like the human body, but I don't like most of the generative art projects. I'll just be
Hmm.
transparent. I don't like them where it's a human. So I felt like you guys nailed it by making it like a machine head, because
Yeah,
the human heads, they haven't translated well to the generative art projects really yet, and
I
maybe they
agree.
will. But to me, this was the right way to go, like with the machine head, and I feel like it's reflective of the technology, part of NFTs and all that too.
Yeah, I agree. And it was like the funny thing is we didn't have to create this and then Jason had to make it. Like Jason was already doing this. Like he was doing this in 2004. And like he made the first like Vogu robot guy. And so we built on that. And the biggest thing, it's like the reason that like you buy into these projects and you like them is because it becomes this like representation of yourself that doesn't look like it's different than you. So I think that's why like the human parts things and stuff, they look really cool. There's some that I like, but it's almost like, well, that's just me. I might as well just use a picture of me. Like that's
Right.
kind of how I feel like, and like a lot of people hate on my opinion, but like I don't like pixel art. So like the crypto punks don't really do anything for me because I just don't like pixel art. So that would never be my profile picture. Like that just goes in a vault somewhere as an investment.
Yeah.
But these guys, like I felt had enough personality and had this vibe where it's like, again with our lore, like if I have a robot on a planet and that's my surrogate, that's my tar. I want it to be cool and I want it to have personality. So I think it kind of mixes with that, like it still has that human feel, like you said, but it gives off a little bit different of a vibe.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, you nailed it. And then I think the streetwear being integrated with it is a great move, because I don't think we've really seen that in a generative art project, and it really reminds me of like notable streetwear brands. The way that he designed the art, or whoever designed the art, is like really
Yeah, Jason.
clean. Do you feel like that's like been a successful kind of angle to the collection too?
Yeah, and I think it's like it's resonated with a lot of people. And Jason and I like um you know, Jason grew up outside of San Francisco. I grew up in New Jersey, outside of Philly, and like so board sports and skating and surfing. I'm terrible at all of them, but my friends were great. That's where we grew up. Like we grew up on brands, like Obey, Supreme, Neff. Like we grew up on all these brands. And like it's always kind of like we're old men now, but like it kind of stuck with us, and that streetwear vibe has always been the case. Like Jason remembers going into San Fran and going to stores and being a hype beast and trying to pick up hot stuff. And I remember going to New York City and shopping at, Obey, 555 Soul, and all these places that don't exist anymore. But like, it comes through in his art style. And I think there's a lot of people that are just like us that are like, yeah, that's me. Like I remember that stuff. Like that's my style. So it's been fun to, it kind of shows you like, okay, it's not just me that's still into this stuff.
For sure, and it just goes really well with, like, the gradient background. I just feel like from an art perspective, you guys were really, really tight, and, all the things that you talked about, the nostalgia factor of having, like, '90s windbreakers and the streetwear style is so
Yeah.
cool. So, I'm gonna pull something up that to me is like a bullish sort of thing when it comes to Vogu, and I saw some people talking about it in the chat, so I wanna show them some love. So, have you seen, I'm sure you have. What do you think of this?
Yeah, me and Jason were finding that out, and everyone's sharing it in chat. I love it. It's like those are the things, and this is why, like, I love. This is like one of the few things I like to toot our own horn on. Is like we made sure to pay money up front and approach a lawyer and put together like an IP rights document that we felt is like should be paramount in the space. And it's something that I think and I hope that all these projects start looking at us and like emulating it, because like part of the fun of this project is this, right? Like part of the fun of
Right.
getting like a pair of A1s and then like having someone custom draw them, like that kind of custom art stuff. We've branded it our own with the remixes and the remix channel that we have in our Discord. And the response has been just me and Jason just text back and forth all day long. Like, did you see this remix? Did you see these appliances? This is an actual toaster head, you know? So we love this stuff. And I have continuing calls with like our law firm, our lawyers, to like secure our IP for the future so that we can grow as a brand and grow as an IP, and it's kind of spread from the NFT space while allowing this awesome creativity, because there's so many creative people in the NFT space and there's so many talented artists, and they're not all going to be able to launch a 10,000, generative project and make a couple hundred grand. Like it's just, that's not, no one, not everyone has access to be able to do that. So like being able to be creative alongside a project like ours, helps it expose artists that wouldn't get it, and hopefully like helps them make a little bit of money without infringing on our IP or hurting our IP. I think we can exist together.
Yeah, I think it's a really brilliant, and I noticed on the Vogu site that there was like this specific IP section. So that must be, what you're talking
Yep,
about, that you really
exactly.
like went hard to get that drafted.
Hmm.
What's different about that than say like the Bored Ape IP or the IP for like Gutter Cats or one of these other projects?
So and it's nothing like, it's not to say anything about these other projects in a negative light. It's just like this is the Wild West right now, and
Yeah.
we don't know what it is yet as a consumer or from a project standpoint. So we looked at it, and I won't use any specific project, but it's just like you'll go to a project's page and there's a paragraph and it's like you own the commercial rights. You got it. Whatever you're, I'm like trying to pick an animal that hasn't been done yet, so I'm picking on, but they've all been done, so I can't like find like, maybe there's not a goose project, so like
Llamas.
llamas, there's what, yeah, so it's like your randomized llama, you own it, right? But like if you have laser eyes on your llama, do you own that?
Good question.
You just told me you did. Website, I own the commercial rights to the laser eye llama, but like 100 people own laser eye llamas. So can I then go and make a claim, like a DCMA notice that they're using the laser eye? I own the laser eye. The website said I owned it. And it's just like, it's a gray area. No one's going to fight that legal battle. It's not really going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's just a gray area. So the consumer doesn't know, the brand doesn't know. And when you're going to go to a big meeting, like if you're going to call up Supreme or Gucci or someone and be like, yeah, like I want to put my stuff on a thing, they're going to go, is your IP secure? What do you own? You don't own laser eyes. You told 100 people you owned laser eyes. So we were like, how do we fix that? That doesn't make any sense, right? So we wanted to clarify it from the brand standpoint and from the consumer standpoint. So that's where we came up with us owning all of the attributes. You own the combination of attributes. So yeah,
So
no,
yeah,
but
so you own
it's
your
yeah.
Vogu. Like you own
Mhm.
all the details on your Vogu, and there's
Yeah.
no kind of gray area. That's like ironed out. That's
Yeah,
concrete.
and that's, I wanted to write something out so that it was more than just a paragraph that says you own it. What people don't see, and I guarantee that like talking about the hundreds collabs and all these collabs, like of course Bored Apes is going to collab with a bunch of people. So the things that they're going to have to do behind the scenes that no one's seeing is like retroactively try to secure their IP and retroactively get their copyrights and all that kind of stuff down. And it creates work for them on the back end. And I was like, let's just do it before we launch, and let's try to like remove the gray area before launch.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think my camera died, but I hope you can still hear me. Can you hear me okay?
I can still hear you. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. So I guess besides these Vogu appliances, have any derivative Vogu like businesses or things that, utilize the Vogu IP, have they popped up yet?
Yeah, so there's been like a ton of, and like one of the ways that people do it that I think fits is like they'll create these like tickets that you can buy, and then they'll create like a remix of yours. There's a lot of creative people that are hitting me up that want to do like projects and things, and draw art, and create music, and like there's a million great things. And it's like I want to jump into all of it, but I have to be like careful about what we approve and don't approve. So it's been interesting. There's a lot of stuff and a lot of community involvement, and it's a I'd love to say yes to everything and just go out and do it, but yeah, we just have to be a little careful.
Yeah, no, I mean, no doubt about it. And I will be curious to see what derivative things pop up because I do think it's really cool when the hot projects, actually have that. So I guess, what can you tell people is going to come next? Like, I don't know the roadmap inside and out. So
Yeah.
what would be the next thing for the Vogu franchise?
Yeah, so our focus, like there's some things happening next week behind the scenes that hopefully that will announce, from more of a business side of things. And then there's but from a project standpoint, our big focuses are the companion drop, and we'll have an announcement tomorrow about some of the metaverse stuff. So like the biggest thing for us is the companion drop. I think that's like from an art standpoint, from an NFT side of things. The companion drops our biggest thing. So Jason, what he'll do is he's going to put together kind of an asset list and be like, here's a couple of ideas that we're working with, and then me and him will tease it, play it through. Does it have enough personality? Do people like it? All those kind of things. And hopefully in the next few weeks we'll be able to tease some of what our ideas are for the companion drop. I think that's what everyone's really looking forward to, and it's probably number one on our priority list.
That's really exciting. And just watching all these projects develop and seeing what becomes like the in vogue sort of, additions to provide collectors after the fact is always, I think, very fascinating. And whoever like does that right really, helps their brand in the long run. One thing I'd be curious is like, have any celebrities, have any influencers kind of offered to partner with you guys, or just, besides Tom Billieu, obviously, who expressed to me that he loved it, anyone else sort of like reach out to you and say, hey, I love the project, I bought X number of Vogus, or hey, can we connect and collab?
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of that. No, I mean, there's no, like, there's stuff that I can't talk about, but like for the most part, just in general, it's been a lot of positive community members, people that are already in the space. I haven't really been approached from like people outside of the space. I mean, Ja Rule tweeted, the Vogu are cool, but he did. I haven't gone back and forth with Ja Rule and talked to him. But I mean, there's been some people that approached, and some people that I respect really well, and I respect their opinion and things, and I've had some really really good conversations with some people.
That's awesome. Yeah, it seems like, hey, I'm not throwing shade at Ja Rule, but it does seem like the way he has entered the NFT space, he's just like, yeah, I like that project or this project, but he picked a winner with this one. But I've seen him tweet about some questionable ones.
Yeah, I think he's like, and I think people give him, but I think he's just geeking out, which is cool, right? I think he's just like, this is cool. Like, when you sometimes you introduce someone to the NFTs, and they're like, they're just, oh, there's pictures. But I think Ja Rule's just like kind of one of us at this point, and you just show him a really really cool picture, and he just geeks out, and he like retweets, and he's like, this is rad, this is awesome. So I just look at it like he's having fun, which is the point. I mean, this is a fun, it's a fun culture.
For sure, man, and yeah, I'm giving Ja Rule a hard time here. I'm sure he'll be around to stay because he seems pretty trend and
Yeah.
technology forward. So yeah, so I mean, anything else that you'd want to let people know about what they should expect with the Vogu projects? I mean, just to kind of recap, we've had the floor escalate to one
Mhm.
ETH in a pretty short time frame. It feels like these have been out for a while. How long has it been? Like 9 days, 10 days?
Yeah, a week and yeah, 9 days maybe. Yeah, I mean, it was like, it feels like 3 years. NFT space every day is like 2 years. I mean, it's kind of crazy how quick everything moves, and you'll work for like 2 3 weeks to drop something that took a lot of work, and the community loves it, and then the day after, everyone's like, so what else you got? And you're just
Right.
trying to catch your breath as a project and be like, man, I'm just trying to get like sleep 8 hours. And they're like, nah, let's go, what's next, so we're always on the front foot, we're always trying to move forward. um, I wish I had more fun things to tease at you guys, but I don't have anything yet. But there should be some news tomorrow, and then hopefully next week we'll have some good news.
Okay, well, that's good to hear. I think one of the Vogus, like, destroyed my camera or something. I got to get the Vogu appliance thing to bring it back.
Yeah.
But where can people find, like people should join the Vogu Discord. Obviously, the collection lives on OpenSea. I have your Twitter right there at Andrew
Yep.
Traxy. Anywhere else that they should, find, like, where can they follow the Vogu project itself?
Yeah, I think the biggest things are to follow us on Twitter. The Discord is where we'll be the most active. That's kind of like where I'll hang out in the Discord all day. So if that's your style, I think Discord will probably be like your quick access to information. But any big stuff that we drop in Discord will usually make its way to Twitter. If you like our lore, we do a thing called the Tar News Network, which is like little updates, but they're like lore friendly updates that we do from the perspective of a universally respected journalist in the space called Zion Bugle, and it's really fun. We just dropped one of those today. So if you're a lore fan, definitely jump into Discord because that's where you'll find a little bit more of the lore than you will on Twitter.
Awesome. And yeah, just so that everyone can kind of understand the power of this project, we're pushing like 110 viewers on this video, which isn't common for a collectibles project. So I can tell that, you guys really poured in and the group is really showing support. And actually, one last question. How many unique holders are you guys up to now?
I think we passed 2,500, which is a huge mark for us. We only have the 7,700, so we're getting into that 25, 30 plus percent holder, and that's happened really quickly. So that's been exciting and that's awesome. It's just more family members joining every day. It's awesome.
For sure. Wow. Very, very positive signs. Well, everyone make sure you follow Andrew. Check out the Vogu project.
Thank
Please
you.
like and subscribe to this channel. And I saw Zyphy Art in the chat said, if I had a Vogu, I would have still been live. And I think he's probably right. I should have bought that Vogu and now my camera, all the machines around me are turning on me. So, all right, everyone. Well, yeah, thanks for watching. Andrew, thanks so
Thank you,
much for
chat.
joining us, man.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.